year is ending, but apocalypse is not. +400 AQI as Delhi welcomes 2026. Livelihoods choked by toxicity. Rekha government acts after public outcry. Two GRAP 4 curbs now permanent. Will capital breathe free in 2026?
Will the capital breathe free in 2026? That's the big question. Well, it's anybody's guess at the moment. But did you try looking outside your window today, try driving out on the road? Well, you know what I'm saying. AQI in the National Capital Region, especially if you are in Noida or Greater Noida, has gone up to 900 to 1,000 over the past 24 hours. This is the way we will be welcoming 2026. But at the moment, there are certain curbs that have been put into place. There is a certain impact also that we are happy to share that the solutions roundtable that we brought to you also ended up creating. All that and much more coming up on the program, including the Supreme Court verdict on Aravallis. It's a huge win for Gen Z of India. They finally managed to get together for a cause which was the right one really this time. First, pollution, fog, and the dipping temperature. A deadly cocktail bringing daily life to a standstill across Delhi NCR and major parts of North India today. Visibility plunged to a near zero in the national capital, crippling essential services. At least 128 flights were cancelled, 8 diverted. Airlines issued advisories as operations struggled through thick fog. On the ground, well, rail services as well, rail traffic went off it. 11, in fact, like about 100 Delhi-bound trains delayed, roads slowed to a crawl with highways and expressways choked as well. An orange alert has been issued. More cold days are expected ahead. In fact, in Noida, the impact was severe enough for authorities to declare a holiday for schools. But beyond the fog and cold, the real danger really remains to be that of pollution. Delhi's AQI breached 400, going up to 1,000 over the weekend in Noida at least, slipping into the severe category. And for some, the cost has become too personal. A senior executive of a 7,000 crore pharma company has quit his job abruptly, writing one line as the reason. And that was Delhi's pollution. Rajkumar Bafna, the finance head for Coombs Drugs and Pharmaceuticals, resigned in a blunt mail to the management. It said it as simply as that. Due to Delhi air pollution, I'm resigning. Please relieve me as soon as possible. A stark reminder there that when air turns toxic, even careers are forced to move. And this is, remember, the finance head of a pharma company. They know a little bit about health. They know a little bit about what medicines can or cannot do. They also understand the matter in detail. Meanwhile, sustained public pressure has finally delivered action. The Delhi government has announced that 2 of the GRAP 4 measures will now be permanent. Remember, one that kicks in and kicks out every time the AQI gets a little bit better or not? Well, 2 of these, which is no fuel for vehicles without a valid pollution certificate and no entry of non-BS6 vehicles into the capital from the borders. Both these rules that were applied under GRAP 4 will now stay permanent throughout the year. So let's get a quick check on this and get an understanding from our reporters on how this is actually panning out on the ground. Joining me is Shreya Chatterjee and Sushant Mehra. Shreya, let me come to you first. You know, this is a good relief And when I say relief, I don't mean for the citizens or for the drivers in the national capital, but for those who've been demanding stricter action on pollution year-round. So what are you seeing as an impact on the ground when you're interacting with people? What about checks? What about public sentiment? Tell us both.
Well, Sonal, strictness, yes, has been ordered by the Delhi government when it comes to ensuring that these two protocols that are part of GRAP 4 essentially continues to stay even when GRAP 4 has been revoked in the national capital. There are measures that have been implemented at the borders, particularly to ensure that all the vehicles that do not comply the BS6 norms, they will not be flying in the national capital. PUCC as well is a mandation right now, should have been always the case that without pollution people can't get fuel, but clearly that alone isn't really solving the problem of the air pollution in the national capital. Yes, we can say that the government at least now appears to be more serious in trying to bring in more curbs in place, but as we talk, Sonal, the fact is true that even today the air quality continue to hover between the very poor and the severe category, and that continues to be the story at least for days to come, is what the weather reports are also suggesting so far as the conditions are to continue.
All right, so this is a busy time, remember, for traffic police as well across borders, and we really hope that apart from just the regulars that we get of drunken driving or speed driving, etc., this is also getting followed at the border, especially for cars that are driving in or driving out for that matter, for the New Year rush as well. Also with me is Sushant. Sushant joins us from one of those PUC centers that we spoke about. Sushant, what are people saying? And importantly, are the PUC centers, the ones that actually give out these certificates or put their stamp on it, are they really equipped at the moment to carry out a vigil like the one that has been called for by the government?
देखिए सोनल, मैं आपको बता दूं कि दिल्ली के अंदर अगर आपके पास पीयूसी नहीं है तो आपको फ्यूल जो है वो नहीं मिलेगा। ये इम्प्लीमेंट सरकार की तरफ से किया गया, उसको लेकर के रियलिटी चेक में आपको दिखा दूं कि किस तरीके से वो काम करता है। मेरे पीछे अगर आप देखेंगे ये पीयूसी सेंटर है और इसके ठीक बाहर आपको एक कैमरा जो है वो इंस्टॉल नजर आएगा और ये पूरा ANPR सिस्टम लगाया गया। अगर कोई भी गाड़ी जिसके पास पीयूसी सर्टिफिकेट नहीं होगा, ये कैमरा पहले उसको कैच करेगा और स्पीकर से यहाँ पर बकायदा उसकी अनाउंसमेंट होगी कि इस गाड़ी का जो नंबर है उसके पास पीयूसी सर्टिफिकेट नहीं है तो उसको फ्यूल जो है वो ना दिया जाए, और उसके बाद वो यहाँ पर अपना पीयूसी सर्टिफिकेट जो है वो बनवा सकता है, उसको पीयूसी सर्टिफिकेट मिलेगा, उसके बाद ही आपको पेट्रोल जो है वो मिलेगा। हालांकि सरकार का मानना है कि कई पीयूसी सेंटर्स पर इस तरीके के ANPR सिस्टम जो लगाए गए हैं वो काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, उस पर भी सरकार ने सख्ती से एक्शन लिया। पिछले दिनों जिस तरीके से हमने बैक टू बैक ये पूरा कैंपेन चलाया, उस पर इंडिया टुडे आज तक की जो खबर थी उस पर सरकार ने संज्ञान लिया और उसमें तकरीबन 28 ऐसे पीयूसी सेंटर्स हैं जिनको सस्पेंड किया गया जो कि इस तरीके के नियम को फॉलो नहीं कर रहे थे। इसके अलावा 4 पीयूसी सेंटर्स को पूरी तरीके से ब्लैकलिस्ट कर दिया गया, लेकिन ग्रैप 4 जो है वो हटा दिया गया है। CAQM की तरफ से ग्रैप 3 इम्पोज्ड है दिल्ली के अंदर, लेकिन आज जिस तरीके से लगातार जो पोल्यूशन का स्तर है वो काफी ज्यादा है और सीवियर कैटेगरी के अंदर बना हुआ है और 25 मॉनिटरिंग स्टेशन सुबह मॉर्निंग के अंदर 40 में से सीवियर कैटेगरी में थे। तो ऐसे में जो पाबंदियां लगाई गई हैं, हो सकता है कि उस पर एक बार फिर से विचार जो है वो करना पड़े और दिल्ली में एक बार फिर से जो है वो ग्रैप 4 जो है वो इम्पोज किया जाए, क्योंकि पोल्यूशन बहुत ज्यादा है, विंड स्पीड जो है वो काफी कम हो गई है, जिसके कारण पोल्यूशन का स्तर जो है वो बढ़ रहा है।
जी सुशांत, आपने ना एक बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बात बोली। आपने कहा इस पे विचार हो सकता है कि ग्रैप 4 लगे ना लगे। दिस हैज टू बी अ वेरी peculiar thing, because last we remember the Supreme Court had said that the minute it crosses and gets into the severe category, there should be a GRAP 4. But this time around, we are seeing a lot of vichar, vimarsh happening on whether or not GRAP 3, GRAP 4 has to happen. Let me take that question to Shreya as well. Shreya, on the ground, we've seen, I think fair to say that we've seen a sort of not a very active approach on GRAP 3, GRAP 4. Almost like government understanding that it is an inconvenience, it causes loss of livelihood for a lot of people, it causes a lot of issues for people, parents, schools are shut, others as well. At the moment, when pollution levels as we speak are still above 500, if you're in Noida or Greater Noida, anywhere it's above 600, 700, 800, depending on where you stay really. At the moment, what is the public response that you're gauging? Are they okay with this arrangement?
Well, you know, the public somewhere down the line needs to be more proactive, because probably that is also missing on the ground, is why we see the government, when it comes to removing these protocols, they're immediately very quick. Because if you see one good spell, immediately the next day GRAP 4 is removed. But when it comes to the immediacy that needs to be shown, as you were talking about the Supreme Court direction, that the moment the pollution level rises, you do not see that going back to GRAP 4 again. So that is something that's been the case, because we are resilient. Probably the public is not that proactive in raising their voices when it comes to pollution. We hope they understand the severity of the long-term effect that it actually causes to our health. It's a health emergency that needs to be addressed more proactively. But as Sushant, my colleague, was pointing it out, GRAP 4 might again be brought in, because the weather conditions do not seem to be improving in the national capital, despite the kind of restrictions that the government is trying to initiate. GRAP 4 was quickly removed with one good spell, but it's not brought back, while we continue to see severe AQI situations in the national capital even now.
That's a very good point, Shreya. The urgency with which GRAP 4 or GRAP 3 is removed versus the urgency with which it is imposed, there's a massive difference, right? The way in which it is brought in, the time it is taken as well, that is a major difference. That's a good point there. Let me take another question from Sushant. Then Sushant, आपके हिसाब से क्या जितने आप पेट्रोल पंप में आप गए हैं आसपास, हमने तो इतने रियलिटी चेक भी करे अभी, आपको लगता है कि जितने भी पेट्रोल पंप हैं दिल्ली एनसीआर में, आप नोएडा, ग्रेटर नोएडा, आप जानते हैं कैसे पेट्रोल पंप होते हैं, कितने दूर दूर कॉर्नर्स में होते हैं, वहाँ पर ऐसे स्पीकर्स, ऐसे कैमरा का अरेंजमेंट हो पाया है?
देखिए, मैं आपको बता दूं सोनल, इसके लिए सरकार की तरफ से तमाम जो दिल्ली के अंदर है उसमें ये पेट्रोल पंप्स को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए नोटिस जो है वो आज से तकरीबन 4-5 महीने पहले जारी कर दिया गया था, जब दिल्ली के अंदर सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ये ऑर्डर आया था कि 15 साल और 10 साल पुरानी गाड़ियों को बैन किया जाए। लेकिन उसके साथ साथ जब हमने ये पूरी खबर दिखाई कि किस तरीके से ANPR कैमराज जो है वो काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, PUC सेंटर्स जो है वो फर्जीवाड़ा कर रहे हैं, उस पर ज्वाइंट जो कमिश्नर है ट्रांसपोर्ट विभाग की तरफ से, उन्होंने यूपी और हरियाणा के जो कमिश्नर है ट्रांसपोर्ट को, उनको बकायदा एक लेटर जो है वो इशू किया है और कहा है कि इस तरीके के फर्जी सर्टिफिकेट्स जो है वो यूपी और नोएडा से और उसके अलावा गुरुग्राम से जो है हरियाणा से बनाए जा रहे हैं, उस पर रोक लगाई जाए और उन तमाम पेट्रोल पंप्स को जो है वो पूरी तरीके से सस्पेंड किया जाए, कि ताकि लोग जो है जिनके पास गाड़ी के पास पोल्यूशन नहीं है वो अनदर स्टेट से, नेबरिंग स्टेट से जो है वो पोल्यूशन करवा करके दिल्ली में एंटर कर रहे हैं, तो ऐसे में ना हो, फर्जीवाड़ा किसी तरीके से ना हो, इस पर संज्ञान लेने की जरूरत है। और ये लेटर जो है वो इशू किए गए, लेकिन दिल्ली में भी
लेटर लिखे गए हैं। सुशांत, कितना इन्फोर्समेंट लगता है आपको हो पाएगा इस पर?
ये पीछे कैमरे जो है, देखिए सरकार भी जानती है कि वो इतनी जल्दी इसको इम्पोज करना आसान नहीं होगा, इस तरीके से उनको जो ऑर्डर्स हैं वो लिखित रूप में दिए गए, लेकिन नेबरिंग स्टेट उस पर किस तरीके से काम कर रही है ये देखना होगा कि कैसे वो काम करती है। हालांकि इसके अलावा मैं आपको बता दूं कि कई सारे पेट्रोल पंप्स पर भी जो नोएडा है, पिछले दिनों हमने दिखाया था कि वहां पर भी एक्शन जो है वो लिए गए थे फर्जी PUC सर्टिफिकेट्स को लेकर के, वहां पर भी कई सारी एनफोर्समेंट टीम्स जो है उन जांच करने के लिए पहुंची थी।
जी। All right, Sushant and Shreya, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you both for joining us with all those insights. All right, and talking about pollution and those two permanent GRAP 4 measures, were a bit of a good news that we can actually share with you. India Today's relentless coverage, especially the SIT exposes that we brought out, we forced government to take action against these rogue PUC centers and polluting buses as well. And now a solution long discussed on this very program. In fact, it was discussed on Friday, where we talked about the solution for pollution. A lot of think tanks, a lot of experts in the domain came together, and we had a full 1-hour discussion on what should be done. Very happy to report to all of you today that one of those suggestions has actually been picked up by Delhi government and has been implemented. Several pollution control measures advocated here on the program also, which have been adopted. One key idea that we had spoken about, which in fact the experts brought to the fore, was that there should be a year-long enforcement of GRAP measures. It was strongly put together at that round table. Take a look at what the expert had to say. But Chandrabhushan, talk to me a little bit about the GRAP measures. GRAP measures came into being 5 years ago, if I'm not wrong. when the Supreme Court got into there. Not just been about 5-6 years that we've had GRAP enforced in India, in Delhi NCR actually. Mumbai this time around saw some bits of it. They thought they should replicate that model, but there was confusion. Do you think at the levels that we are at the moment, is GRAP still a solution, even if a short-term solution?
See, first of all, you need to understand that till level 3 of GRAP is something that we should be doing year-round. I don't understand why we need to say that we need to stop burning waste only during pollution season. And that will happen in GRAP 3 or dust management. So till GRAP 3, all the activities that are listed should be done year-round. It is the responsibility of municipality. You know, one other thing we miss all the time is to hold municipal corporations accountable. What is NDMC doing or MCD doing? We go to state government and union government, but the fact is, till GRAP 3, everything that needs to be done is to be done by local government. So I don't think GRAP 3 is a year-round activity. It should happen. GRAP 4, I have never believed that is a right approach. It's a very draconian, provision. Instead of ensuring compliance, which is a tough job because inspectors will have to be on the ground. They will have to inspect factories and buildings. They take an easy way out and say, I'm going to close everything. So GRAP 4, there is no evidence that GRAP 4 is leading to any reduction in pollution.
Even the enhanced, position of GRAP 4, it changed this year.
Absolutely.
Ordin even was removed.
So
a couple of measures which were in GRAP 4 went to GRAP 3. You're saying under the revised definitions, GRAP 3 should be enforced all year round?
Yes, absolutely.
Only in Delhi NCR?
I mean to say it is depending on state governments, wherever there is an air pollution crisis. First of all, Sonal, let me rephrase what I'm saying. I don't think we need GRAP the way it is being done in Delhi NCR anywhere in India. The most of the activities that are there in GRAP should be done year round. The draconian provisions of GRAP is not leading to any result. Last 2 days, air quality has improved not because there was GRAP 4, because the wind speed was more than 10 meters per second.
All right, so Chandrabhushan there making that point on our solutions roundtable, and now the Delhi government also going ahead with it, saying that at least 2 of those measures from GRAP will stay. Again, to remind you, no PUC, no fuel in the national capital, no matter where you come from. And second, off BS6, no entry to any cars which are below BS6 levels as well. Both of those have now been implemented year-round by the Delhi government. All right, with that, let's move on to the other top focus here on 5 Live. The public pressure seems to have worked. The Gen Z outcry has finally led to some action. What began as online outrage has now reached the country's highest courts. And today, the Supreme Court of India put the sort of controversial new definition of Aravali range on hold. This was the same definition that was relied on, a 100-meter height rule to decide what qualifies as Aravali hills, and a rule environmentalists, remember, warned could strip legal protection for the vast stretches of one of India's oldest mountain systems. Now, what happened today? Let's give you an update there. During today's hearing, the court acknowledged that the 100-meter benchmark may not be the correct way to define a hill range like Aravali, and that parts of its earlier order were being interpreted in ways that raised serious environmental concerns. The bench also took note of fears that this definition could open ecologically sensitive areas to mining and also real estate activity. As a result, the Supreme Court has kept its earlier order in abeyance and announced that a fresh expert committee will be constituted to re-examine how the Aravali range should be scientifically and legally defined and what level of protection is must to be continued as well. But this intervention, remember, did not happen in isolation. One of the key factors behind today's moment was the Gen Z protest that unfolded in parts of India, especially in Jaipur. A protest that spoke volumes without shouting too much. 2025, remember, in many ways has been a year of Gen Z uprisings. From Nepal to Bangladesh, young voices have challenged power, reshaped political conversations, and in India, Gen Z came together around a very different and perhaps a more lasting cause. It was not politics, it was not ideology, but it was our Mother Earth, the environment. And at the center of it all was the Aravalis. In Jaipur, young protesters gathered to question a definition that could quietly erase protection of the hills that act as a natural shield for North India. No violence took place, no disruption, just placards and clear warning that redefining hills on paper can flatten ecosystems on the ground. The protest obviously spoke 1,000 words and it was heard. Today, the rule has been paused, the order is on hold, and the debate on Aravalis is back where it belongs, grounded in science, ecology, and public interest. Take a look at what happened in Jaipur, really, and then we'll return to some of those voices to understand how did they make it happen.
Save the Aravalis, save the Greens, save the nation. The anger on the streets was loud, the message unmistakable. Public outrage erupted after a revised definition of the Aravali range left vast stretches of these ancient hills sensitive to regulated mining. Leading the charge, Gen Z young voices fight to protect one of the world's oldest natural shields. And this time, the pressure worked. The Supreme Court has put its own order on hold, staying the centre's definition of the Aravali hill range. The top court initiated suo motu proceedings, admitting that critical clarifications are needed. A new expert committee will be formed to re-examine the definition, replacing the earlier panel, which the court itself noted was dominated by bureaucrats. And the top court's recent ruling has been met with a positive response.
हमने ये मुद्दे उठाए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने आज क्या कहा है? सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि अब तक परिभाषा हम बदलेंगे नहीं, इस पर और विश्लेषण होगा, अध्ययन होगा, इस पर विचार होगा और हम मानते हैं कि अरावली पर्यावरण के नज़रिए से एक बड़ा संवेदनशील मामला है।
अपेक्षा के अनुरूप फैसला हुआ है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने शिव मोटो पीएल फाइल की थी, समझ जाना चाहिए था क्यों करी, ये नौबत क्यों आई।
डेफिनेटली आई मीन ये जुडिशियल इंटरवेंशन एक बहुत सही टाइम पे और कंसिडरिंग के 4 दिन बाद कोर्ट खुल रहे थे और इसको छुट्टियों में लिया गया है, सो इट्स ऑब्वियसली वेल मीनिंग एंड मच नीडेड.
The relief comes after fierce criticism of the centre's 100-meter rule, a definition that would have opened the doors to legal mining in nearly 90% of the Aravalis. While the government announced a ban on new mining leases, concerns refused to die down. Now, with the Supreme Court pressing pause, many see this as a victory for reason and resistance. But for how long the Aravalis remain protected? That question still hangs in the air. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, and joining me next are two of the Gen Z protesters who were out and about raising awareness and campaign on Aravalis. They join me now. Kartike Bharadwaj is with us. Hi, Kartike. Also with us is Darshil Bhatt. Kartike and Darshil, both, thank you so much for joining us. Kartike, I'll start with you. First, tell us a little bit about yourself, apart from your Gen Z identity, and tell me why was the issue of Aravali so critical to you?
Okay, my name is Kartike Bharadwaj and I'm from Jaipur. I'm a student of commerce. I'm pursuing BCom from Commerce College in Jaipur itself. And this issue was very concerning for us all. Right now, India is facing many issues like taxation, and there is no equal job opportunities. And right now, people are graduating but still not getting the job. There is very much unemployment. But this issue, it was more crucial than all the issues, because all of these issues we can resolve them in near future. But once the mountains are cut, once the greenery is cut, it cannot be regenerated again, and we cannot bring back the mountains again. When we go to Delhi, we feel pain in our throat, we feel itchiness in our eyes, we can see the AQI and we don't want such situations to arise in Rajasthan and Jaipur itself. So it was very important for us.
Oh, how interesting. You were saying Gen Z actually understood the connection between environment and health, and they actually understood the connection between Aravalis and pollution?
Yes, we do understand it because right now Aravali's act as a natural shield. It not only gives us oxygen, not only gives us the greenery, but also it saves us from the dust storms. It also regulates the rain. It also regulates the groundwater. There are many natural calamities we will face if we lose these Aravalis.
I'm filled with hope when I'm hearing people like you, Kartike, because on this program, I constantly talk to politicians who don't seem to understand even half of what you guys are saying. So, like I'm saying, my year is ending on a good note, but that brings me to Darshil. Darshil, Gen Z in India is generally seen as this disillusioned, Instagrammable, instant gratification generation, which doesn't seem to care about much. We've seen, like I said in the opening as well, 2025 has been a year of a lot of Gen Z uprising. Whether it was in Nepal, whether it was in Bangladesh, and the question constantly being asked was कि India के Gen Z कहाँ हैं? Why do you think Gen Z and young people like you, not like I'm not young, I'm just saying, young people like you guys have chosen the issue of environment to really connect on, not politics, but environment?
Yeah, firstly, thank you so much for inviting the channel. And a conception has been made by the ideal people of India that the Gen Zs only know how to comment on YouTube video, how to post on social media. But the reality is that it's the time to raise a voice. When it was the time of corruption or anything else, we can see it. It's not necessary for us to raise the voice. But when it comes to a life, like Mr. Karthik said earlier, it's the matter of life. If the Aravali is being cut, it will definitely affect our lives. So it's a necessary step that should be taken, and the Aravali is a very very important point in the country. It's a sensation, and Gen Z has raised the voice in our street, and we came up out of our house to raise a voice against it. It's a very necessary step.
So दर्शील, किसने ऑर्गेनाइज कराया था प्रोटेस्ट, मुझे बताइए. क्या जेनजी ग्रुप्स अलग अलग थे? कैसे आपको पता चला इसके बारे में? इतने सारे लोग कैसे आ गए स्ट्रीट्स पर?
तो जैसे हम दिल्ली में थे, तो दिल्ली में कमेंट आना स्टार्ट हो गए थे जब हम दिल्ली में थे फ्यू वीक्स अगो, तो कि अरावली को कटने की न्यूज आ रही है. बहुत सारे डीएम्स आ रहे थे, बहुत सारे मैसेजेस आ रहे थे कमेंट्स के माध्यम से. तो कार्तिक भारद्वाज ने डिसाइड किया तो इसके ऊपर एक वीडियो लॉन्च करते हैं. तो दिल्ली में इंडिया गेट के आगे वीडियो लॉन्च किया गया कि विल सून डूइंग अ प्रोटेस्ट इस संबंध में. तो बहुत सारे लोगों ने सपोर्ट दिखाया कि विल डेफिनेटली ज्वाइन यू, वी नीड अ यंगर वॉइस हु इज अ वॉइस. तो एज अ मीडियम, as a leader, Mr. Karthik Bharadwaj introduced a protest which was done on 24th December 2025, and nearly 1,000 of Gen Zs, not only from Jaipur but all over the India, like from Delhi, from MP, joined us to save the Aravali.
Okay, so leader कार्तिकेय भारद्वाज जी, आप मुझे बताएं कि कहाँ से आपने इतने सारे लोगों को बुलाया. And ये तो वैसा वाला समय है ना, it's that time of the year, right? Everybody wants to take a chill pill, everybody wants to relax a little bit, you know, and look forward to the new year, make party plans. But here you are moving the party to the streets and saying that no party till Aravalis are really arrived at, right? Help me understand, how did you manage to get this message across? क्या ये easy था या difficult था लोगों को इकट्ठा करना एक environment के issue पर?
It was quite easy for me because all the youth is really educated. They do understand what is AQI. They do understand what is pollution. They know what are the hazardous problems we are going to face if the Aravlis are being cut. So it was quite easy for me. I have a great connection with the youth of Rajasthan. So I just made some videos and tried to aware all of them that it is not important to party in this new year, because in upcoming years you will not be able to celebrate your new year itself. Our new generation is going to come. We all have our mothers and fathers. We all have our small sisters, small brothers. If they are going to have problems like asthma, lung cancer, TB, and these things are going to be common in near future, how will we celebrate? So to celebrate in future, we must protest today. And if we are today able to protest against it, if today we are able to save our Aravalis, we can celebrate anytime. We have so much time to
Got it.
celebrate our New Year. We can celebrate
Ji.
next year. We can celebrate the near
But
year
Kartikeya,
next
help
to
me
it.
understand this. My understanding has been that some of the older generation, let's say boomers, for example, millennials are a different lot, right? Say
Okay.
boomers and above, you think they don't understand or look at the issue of environment and health the way we do? You think there is a critical sort of gap between their understanding of what is good health, what is important for good health, both of yourself and that of the planet? You think older generations just don't get it?
Actually, this statement is partially correct, I can say, because there is a big generational difference between us. They have never seen so much vehicular pollution. They don't know much about the AQI, and it was not a common definition for them. Right now, we can see it all over the Delhi. Even the older generations who are living in Delhi knows about the pollution. But in Rajasthan, it is not a very common thing. In Jaipur, the AQI has been 60 and 40, 50 like this all over the year. But right now, it is raising slowly. And now people are slowly getting aware about it. Like right now, I think AQI in Jaipur is around 250, which is very bad for our health. But there are not much safety concerns in mind of people right now. They are learning about it slowly. The Gen Zs are well aware. They are trying to make their parents well aware too. But it will take time, a little bit time. But this matter
Yeah.
of Aravali, it took all the eyes from the normal work of household people also. Now they are also
Yeah.
looking at it, and they are also trying to understand that this issue is really big and we must save the Aravalis and we must protect the nature from all the other
Yes.
things too. Because we have
Yeah.
witnessed some time before only the Dol Ka Bagh jungle, which is also called as the lungs of Jaipur, has been cut by the government. And that time also Gen Zs were protesting. We were doing peaceful protest, but the government was not hearing us. They just used to put us in jail. They used to do lathi charge. And after all of that, now the jungle has been cut. So now people are understanding that we must get into some aggressive mode and tell the government that we are not going to
Good
stay
for you
silent.
guys. Good for you guys. And kudos to your generation for having done that. But
Thank you
Darshil,
so much.
my last question is to you. दिल्ली का जेंजी कहाँ है भाई? जयपुर में 200 पर लोग बाहर आ गए हैं सड़कों पर. दिल्ली में तो 1000 हो गया है. Are you guys in touch? Like, is this a regional thing, or should I say just the Delhi Janta is very laid back any which way? Darshil, you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. It's not like that. The Gen Zs or the people of Delhi are not aware. They are aware enough, but they don't have a people who can raise their voice, who can do protests on their behalf. So it's the right time for the elites to come out of their houses and raise voice against it.
Right. All right,
Actually,
let's see. Yeah, Kartikeya, quickly.
Actually, the youth is a little bit scared. And there is a message from my side also to the youth that even if they put us in jail, even if they do lathi charge on us, or even if they kill us, we don't care. Because in the upcoming future, seeing these situations in Delhi, we are going to die itself. If we live there, we are in a gas chamber. We will die of some disease. So it is better to die on the streets fighting for our life for the future generations. That is what I think.
Well, we really hope it doesn't come down to that. We really hope that our leaders are able to hear your voices, because we know when the younger generation unites for a cause, things happen. Parties and political powers get overturned, systems change, court hearings get overruled as well. So we are really banking on this generation, who will actually be the one living the most outcome of these bad rules, to actually come out and ensure that their voice is heard. For the moment, Kartikeya and Darshil, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck for everything that you guys do next. As the world counts down to 2026, the weather story begins in India, where sharp contrasts dominate with cooler than usual conditions and also hazardous air quality in the north and east, while western cities stay near seasonal norms as well, and south remains warm, humid, and slightly unsettled. Now, this divide mirrors a global pattern, with New York entering a harsh winter after early snow, the North Pole logged in severe Arctic cold, and Europe experiencing rain-heavy but mild conditions. Tokyo, meanwhile, stayed cool, dry. Sydney there was, welcoming the new year in summer warmth. Highlighting all of this is our next report, where we take you through what's happening with the weather patterns this new year in India and beyond. My colleague Shreya is with us with the latest. Shreya.
Yes, Sonal, we're just days away from entering into a new chapter 2026. But let's also take a look at what the weather looks like across the world. And of course, we'll begin with our focus on India. What does it look like? Because yes, when we speak of weather conditions and climate change, it is a real crisis that the world is grappling with, because weather patterns have been changing over the past few years, which weather experts have also been flagging from not just in India, but also across the world. So I'll take you through certain places that we've mapped out as to how it will be in the upcoming days as we are entering into New Year. We'll start with India first. Let me quickly take you through the cities. First up, we'll take you to Delhi NCR. So when we speak of Delhi NCR, of course, it's no new news for anybody that the smog that we've been grappling with in the national capital itself, it's been zero visibility conditions for the past few days now that we've been seeing, with the weather patterns going somewhere between 9 to in fact 22 degrees Celsius. That's where the temperature currently is averaging. Of course, it has been colder. The average already that's been recorded for the national capital right now has been colder than the usual last few years. But right now, this is the picture every morning and late night, if we are to speak of how Delhi NCR will look when we enter into the new year as well. Now we'll move to another city. Let's quickly take a look at what the situation is in Jammu and Kashmir. Of course, Jammu and Kashmir, whenever we speak of, let's tell you, this time the snowfall has already begun compared to the last few years where the snowfall had set in a little later. Of course, there's sub-zero night temperatures, average low around -2 degrees Celsius. Beautiful snow-covered regions already that we are getting to witness this winters, and New Year's also, that's the same situation. But if we speak of the AQI here, it's around 150, so that's around a moderate. But yes, Delhi again, when we spoke about the smog situation, it has been nearing hazardous levels quite often at this given point as we enter into a new year, and that's something we are also looking at. Next up, we'll take you to another part of the country, that is the western part. This time, viewers, let us tell you, Mumbai has also been flagging AQI issues. So I will begin with that because you can see the cloudy atmosphere that's been blanketing this very city. The AQI has been between 200 to 250. That's also quite concerning for this region. Temperature again is somewhere 19 to 29 degrees Celsius right now is what we are learning of, and that's what it will be for the next couple of days as well as we enter into the new year. Humidity levels recorded here is currently high. Another neighboring city, if I speak of, in another state, that in the western region itself, that would be Ahmedabad. Let's take you to Ahmedabad next in Gujarat. But before that, yes, from west to east, let me quickly take you to my hometown, Kolkata, at this given point, because I'm coming back from there, and the city right now currently is recording quite hazardous air quality. Let us tell you, this is in fact the first winter, one would say, where we've seen the air quality in such poor condition. In fact, if I'm to speak of the air quality, 351 to 558 is the AQI range on multiple days, and that is why it's quite a cause of concern at this given point. Temperatures, yes, it has already begun being quite cold, so it's somewhere between 16 to 27 degrees. That's the average we are looking at in this very city. But yes, going back down south now to Chennai, this is again a particular city which records quite humid and high temperatures, summerish temperatures at this given point, because yes, winters here isn't really the winter we speak of. So if we speak of Chennai, 27 to 30 degrees Celsius is somewhere around the average if we are to talk about the temperatures. So near normal temperatures, but yes, unseasonal showers have been seen, which is why we see the waterlogging that's been quite common, and that's something we see during winters in Chennai as well. Flooding has been an issue that this region has been grappling with over the years. Next up, we have Bengaluru for you here as well. Bengaluru as well, the temperatures, if we are to look at, It's been smoggy, but the winter temperatures have already set in. So yes, mornings look quite like this if we are to speak of the kind of setting in winters. Yes, we already see a bit of that fog setting it, but otherwise the temperatures do not dip too low in the city of Bengaluru. It's been a mild start to the winter, but yes, winter has set in to this very Silicon Valley as well as we speak. Now, we've covered most of the regions in India, Sonal, at this point. So let's quickly now take a bigger picture into focus now, which is the world map at this point. Let me begin with New York in US. Now, New York, we've seen a harsh early start to the winter with a snowstorm, in fact, marring this region. These are the visuals where planes have also gotten stranded right now because of the kind of snowstorm we are seeing. In fact, in terms of temperature, if I'm to speak of, it's around 4 degrees Fahrenheit and it's below seasonal levels. So it's a harsh, rocky start to the winter. But yes, people nonetheless were already warned of this snowstorm that was to hit this region. So this is the kind of situation we see here at this point. Taking you to Santa's hometown now and near to the Arctic region, that is our next focus being Alaska. Of course, we see how the snow layer, the snow covers most of the land there. Average temperature is at minus 13 degrees Celsius is what we know. It's an extremely cold December as we speak, and it's heavy snow that we've already witnessed for 20 days now. Again, New Year prediction, if I'm to tell you, there will be heavy snow in this very region. So Santa's town will see heavy snow at this point. Also, just a quick update for New York. There might be some respite because in moving into the new year, we may see sunny conditions in New York as we speak. Now, next up, we will take you to Europe, starting with London. So what will the particular city have for you in London as we inch closer to the new year? We are seeing heavy rainfall that has been in fact recorded in this very region for the last around 20 days if we are to speak of it. Rainfall has been averaging 72 millimeters, and the New Year prediction, however, is on a happy note again for all those people out there. It might be sunny is what we are learning, but yes, it's off to quite a wet spell of a start in London if we speak of the Christmas to New Year week. Next up, Madrid is another particular place, Spain rather, is another particular place where we've been seeing flooding as well because rainfall has been so high. So in fact, if we speak exactly of the temperature there, it's around 10 degrees Celsius, but the rains have been consistent here for almost 14 days now and quite heavy rains. So there's a partly cloudy prediction that is coming in for Spain at this point is what we are learning of. Again, relief measures are on. Europe, if we are to speak of this year, the weather conditions have been quite extreme, and that's something that experts have warned of. The El Nino and the La Nina effects that experts have been speaking of time and again has been hitting Europe quite a bit. Next up, we'll quickly take a look to the city of love, that is Paris in France. What exactly is the situation like there? Let me quickly take you across there now. So in Paris, France, we will be seeing highs of 5 degrees Celsius and lows of 0 degrees Celsius with the rainfall averaging around 87 millimeters is what we are learning. December currently, from what it looks like, will be warmer than the historical average. However, persistent rain will also be seen in this very region if we are to speak of. New Year prediction, partly cloudy again is what we are learning at this given point, but it may also be sunny. That is also coming up. Tokyo is one region, let me tell you, and this we are next taking you to again Asia, back to Asia. That place, there is not much of a change we see compared to the past few years. It's again, if you have to speak of the temperatures there, minimal rainfall, cool and dry weather conditions, and New Year prediction would be clear skies. So that's a rather happy note for all the people and those who have winter plans in Tokyo at this given point. Chilly nights, however, are expected here. Weather is in line with what the season's norms usually predict. Last but not the least, I'll take you down south to Australia and Sydney specifically if we are to speak of. Daytime highs above 25 degrees Celsius, early summer conditions. We see a summer Christmas being celebrated in Australia, and high humidity, scattered showers is what we are learning of. Highs would be between 24 to 26 degrees Celsius, but then the warm contrast is to northern hemisphere. That's what we see usually in Australia. But again, it's a rather happy note for all those who have trips planned to Australia for these very few days. So it's a warmer note that we are ending this very global weather snapshot on. Sonal, back to you. This is what the year end looks like entering into 2026, speaking of the weather.
All right, so if we had to make a pick, then maybe Paris and Tokyo, that's your pick. But if your flight will take off, that is, because the visibility here in the capital, at least at most of North India, is very, very low. Thanks so much, Shreya, for joining us with the very latest. But let's end on more holiday chatter. As we approach 2026, the prominent destination across India is seeing a huge influx of tourists, no surprises there. But this time, what's different is from Srinagar to Manali to Goa, people are running to these cities to celebrate New Year's. But a lot of these places have put measures in place. In fact, a lot of religious tourism also happens this time of the year. But this time around, all these places have said, please do not come. We cannot take the influx anymore. Take a look at this report. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
India is set to ring in 2026 with celebration and cheer. From the snow-clad peaks of the north to the sun-kissed coast and plateaus of the south, tourists are pouring into popular winter destinations in large numbers. In Gulmarg, fresh snowfall has transformed the valley into a winter wonderland, drawing tourists who are eager to soak in the magic of snow and scenic beauty.
Valley has not seen, it has not been a great 2025 for Kashmir tourism for obvious reasons, incidents that happened and shattered the tourism season. So the last hope of the tourism industry was snowfall. It has snowed considerably. As you could see, there's a wide blanket of snow everywhere, giving it an absolutely mesmerizing look.
Goa is buzzing with festive energy as thousands of tourists arrive to celebrate the new year. With packed beaches and vibrant nightlife, authorities are on high alert, urging visitors to party responsibly.
हम यहाँ पे मतलब पिकनिक के लिए आए थे, लेकिन बहुत जगह हम घूमे हैं, लेकिन यहाँ का सबसे बड़ा और फेमस बीच है कोलकाता बीच। मतलब हमने अभी तक टीवी में देखा था, लेकिन अभी लाइव देखा है, इतनी स्मूथ सैंड है कि हम बता नहीं सकते।
In the east, the Darjeeling Hills are offering postcard perfect views. Mountain lovers and foreign tourists are enjoying the crisp weather and breathtaking glimpses of the majestic Kanchenjunga. In Rajasthan, Udaipur is witnessing a festive rush as visitors flock to the colourful Shilpgram festival in Hawala village. With nearly 99% of hotels, homestays and resorts already booked, the city is gearing up for a grand New Year's Eve. Tourist destinations are packed and celebrations are in full swing. Law enforcement agencies are on alert to ensure safe New Year celebrations. Bureau Report, India Today.